Morning, Balls.
What are you calling me for on a Sunday?
No, it's not Sunday. It's only Sunday as far as YouTube's concerned. It's Thursday. So, a couple of changes, mate, to the building.
Go on then.
I need the gable posts changing on the end of the building because I'm going to lose the sheeted gates on each four corners.
Lose the gates?
Yeah. So lose the gable post, drop the gable post back to the middle, and then there's no slope on the site anymore because I've done it flat. Quick as you can, mate. Need it. Thank you.
Moron.
Okay, good morning. This week we are back on the farm for foundations. There's been a few changes to the plan. So that one's out the window. This is the new one from James. And we're going to go through it with Reese Baby. Roles reversed now. Instead of me and Fat Chris, or Fat Pete, it's now Reese and Lincoln doing it. So generationally, a bit of a change. Let's go and teach him. So, like I say, building-wise, nothing has changed since the day that we first designed the buildings. Now got the revised plan, and the two buildings, like I said before, they're facing each other, cantilevers in. We're going to take this opportunity now, mixture of Fowler and Gilbert and the farm, because you don't get a better site than this really for a training sort of setup for Reese, because Reese hasn't done any foundations for us yet. He's only ever been on site and really done a little bit of assisting with Skinny Pete. So it's a good opportunity now for us to bring that in, teach Reese how to do it on the best possible site, and then if anything goes wrong, we're all here to put it right. So, Reese Baby, Lincoln. So Reese is the boss today, Lincoln is the apprentice. So, building-wise now, what we've got the two buildings sat like that. We've got the cantilevers facing in, so these are the cantilever sides.
Yeah.
So what I need you to do now is, I'm just going to be your typical farmer. I'm going to tell you where I want the building set up, and then you're going to see how to do it. Try and fathom it out yourself, and if you need any questions answering, just ask.
Yeah.
So, building-wise location, if I say this first point of this foundation on the first corner, which is the one behind us, so the buildings are going this way, that foundation there, I want the centre line from the first bay in on the pig shed, 16 metres to us, and I want it 2 metres set back. I want it running parallel to the pig sheds. So both buildings are going to be parallel to that, completely square. That should give us enough gap of what I've got future planned over there. And then gables wise, we don't want to set the pins on the gable, we'll just do pad and rag. So I've got gable posts at either end, and then I've got my fancy setup in the middle where I've got my calfing, or my calf pen should I say, that we've got some additional gable posts on them centre grid lines.
Yeah.
So once you've sort of set it up, you're going to use the theodolite to get that set up and get it set square and parallel to that.
Yeah.
And then I'll show you how to cube the concrete up so I can get the concrete on order while you're marking out and we can get it dug off.
Yeah.
Yeah? There's your plan, there's your apprentice, get going.
Let's go.
So as far as a training site goes, like I say, you wouldn't get a better site. We're perfectly level. We want all the foundations to go in level because that makes the erecting side of what we do a lot easier. It's not, you don't have to do it that way, and it's not that much more work if it's not a level site, but it does make it a lot quicker when we come to do it. So the beauty is the foundations, like I've said in previous videos, we've got to put the foundation into the virgin ground. So the fact that we've got a bit of made up clay here on this side means that we're going to set all the foundations probably at 300 below where the finished floor level is going to be, because we've got the 150 of concrete to go on the top of here. We've got about 150, 180 mil of stone underneath us, and then beyond that we're at the clay. Well, the clay, we've only got about 300 mil at the actual deepest point where the foundations are not going to be of where we've done the fill. So the base of the foundation and 2/3 of the footing is still going to be in that virgin ground. So we're happy with that, and we can set everything then at 300 mil below. So what they're doing now, basically, I want to make sure that Reese, when he learns how to do what we do here, I want to make sure that he can do it both the new modern way, if you like, or not the most modern way because we're not using a total station, but we have got a theodolite there to set up the building point from a parallel perspective to the existing building. But technology is fine until something goes wrong when you're on site. So if you can't do it the old-fashioned way, you've then got a problem, you've got to stop. Well, we don't work like that. We want to be able to get the job done because wherever we are in the country, we don't want to be down tools and travelling back and to. So the idea being is that primarily, Reese sets up now, Chris goes through with him how to use the theodolite to get that building exactly parallel, but then I want to do it the old-fashioned way with tape measures. We do our 3, 4, 5 measurements to get everything square. At the same time, we could do our cross measurements to the existing building to make sure that they're the same measurements to make sure that we're exactly square, and we do the same again going forward then on the buildings themselves. So everything should be absolutely true, and if he does it both ways, like I say, if there is ever a problem, you know, you're in the middle of nowhere and the batteries run out on the theodolite, or you've got a total station and for some reason you can't get signal and it doesn't work, you've still got the option of being able to go back to old school and doing it with just the tape measures and the plumb bobs. So while they're carrying on over there, I'll show you what my plan is with the retaining wall and the cattle handling facility over here. So like I say, from the new buildings, we are 16 metres from the pig shed. So we've got this gap here. We need the access through to get round to the back doors in the centre of the building there, where we've got the co-off pens going for each one of them buildings. So at the back here, we ended up needing enough lunging room to be able to get in and out with the telehandler for mucking out or bedding up. And at the same time, why not use this then as our area for handling the cattle, because our main, or the bulk of our cattle are on this side of the farm, so we might as well get it all done here. This is quite a nice little area to tuck it in. So when we've dug the site off, I've left that little pad there high because that works quite well actually, that'll end up being the storage position for the stock box, and we can put that in there, and it works quite well with what my plan is here. So like I say, when we've done round the ponds, we've used them panels that we've had left over from other jobs and bits and bobs. We've got a handful left over. I am going to unfortunately have to buy more to put me retaining walls in, but what we're going to do now is we're going to put a retaining panelled wall in there. On the back side, we can drop a French drain in and connect that up to the drainage of the site, so any water that is effectively seeping through the site, not that there's a lot as you can see, but there is a little bit there where the downpipe comes that we want to connect up. We can then collect that water, send it off into the new drainage setup here of the site. So that'll be a concrete panel wall. We're going to put arguably, I don't know, a metre or a 1200 panel. We'll sail the posts high and we'll have a single rail. So we've got that 1500 mil sort of high wall round, and then no matter what, cattle should not be able to jump over that and get out. And then this is where we'll do all of our TB testing, our weigh-in, our sorting out of cattle of what's going where, so when we want to separate them into different groups. And like I say, it'll be dead easy for us to just swing the gates back round and we can access and get them back into the buildings where we have either took them from or want them to go back to. So the plan is we're going to panel both sides of the ramp, then we're going to cut this L shape out, we're going to panel in there, panel in this U shape here. Like I say, I want to keep the tree, so we'll keep the tree and panel back round that, and then we'll leave that at a stop point there, because in the future the last piece of the puzzle here is the building that's going behind where you're standing now on the last bit of the field, which squares everything up. So that will end up being our finishing shed where we finish our cattle. That'll be the sort of hybrid better building with an internal feed passage is what I'm thinking at the moment for finishing the cattle. Everything else is really for what we've got cows calving and that sort of stuff and where we move them to. But the actual finishing stock I want in their own building, which we can pen up and we can start running almost like quarters of a cake where we keep moving them round, and then obviously we have batches then coming through. So from a cash flow perspective, we know we've always got 10 a month coming through, 15 a month, whatever it might be, all year round from a fattening perspective. Well, not all year, but at the periods that we're doing it. So if we get chance while we're doing these footings here, what I might do is dig and put these little spot footings in for the little stub posts, because while we've got concrete coming, it makes sense. We might as well just have some dug out. Whatever excess concrete we've got then, we can use to put these stub posts in, or stub post bases in. So Reece is just finishing off with Chris now, and then we're going to leave Reece to it. Chris and I are going to go around, have a measure up, see what panels we've got, see what more we need, get them on order, and then we'll have a look at these bases. So, good job we were close to home, because we've had nothing but problems. We are on pouring the concrete day to day. I'll come to the problems in the next video. We're going to split this down into two because we're going to have too much content. Not quite enough for a decent montage. So Clayton, you've got to give me a 60-second montage of no concrete pouring, because that's in the next vid, just of where we're up to at this point. If you like what you've seen though, hit subscribe, ring the bell, and next week we will come back with the concreting, and we're also taking Reece off to do his first job for a customer down in Rugby. So 60-second montage, Clayton.